Hi again then guys, and welcome to episode 23 of Ultimate Exotics, the review series of course for the very top tier supercars of obviously Gran Turismo's current lineup. And in this episode, quite simply, to get to the point, we're featuring one of the best cars in this series, possibly even the best car in the series. And not only of the series, but quite possibly, in my opinion at least, the best car on Gran Turismo overall. I'm not saying it's the best at any one particular thing, but this car is so crushingly good at so many things that it all adds up. In the case of this car, it really adds up. It's such a brilliant all-round machine that I would have to say I do think it may be the best all-round car in the game. There are very few rivals which come close to just how good this car is at so many varied things. The only real rival that comes to mind is the GTR, but even the GTR falls to this car for many reasons. The GTR costs more, it's heavier, it's bigger and more bulky, it doesn't have the same horsepower per tonne, it doesn't have the same acceleration even. And when a GTR is not as quick as something for acceleration, that really tells you something about the car in question. And that is the case with this car, which is, of course, the massively popular, widely loved and widely used, in my opinion, overused, TommyKaira ZZ-II, alternatively known as the ASL RS-01 concept. And this car is just that, a concept. There is no production model, unfortunately, and there was a different version of this car, funnily enough, actually featured on Gran Turismo 2. It looked completely different. And on a slight tangent, I've never been able to find out why that was the case. It wasn't just a visual typo, if you will, it was a different car. It had a completely different visual style. If I remember correctly, it didn't have the twin roof scoops, it had a rear wing, it had a completely different look overall. It categorically was not the same car. But it was called the ZZ-II, and I've never been able to find out anything really about that car. Is it a real model, or did they just make that up for the game? I don't know. But, getting back to this model, one of the reasons why this car is so good all round, in my opinion at least, is that it essentially is a GTR, in more ways than you'd think. Some people may be surprised to know that this car actually has a GTR engine from the R34 Skyline. So it really is a GTR to some degree, it has the heart of one. But one of the reasons why it's so brilliant, possibly even the main reason why it's so brilliant, is because it takes what this Skyline is already brilliant at and then takes it to another level, to the next level. And it addresses some of the issues that aren't so good about the GTR, not just the R34 but the GTR in general. Its bulkiness, the weight. This car counteracts those things and improves on them, turns it into more of a racing package than a street-level performance package, which is the Skyline. Now, the Ep.23 2.6 litre turbo engine in this car produces essentially the same kind of spec that you'd get in the R34 on the game, 962 horsepower, just under 630 pound-feet of torque, all-wheel drive and a 6-speed gearbox. That's where the similarity ends though, because from then on this becomes much more of a racing machine than the Skyline, and the Skyline's a fantastic racing car. This car though is much more of a racing car in its look, in its approach to performance and in its capabilities in terms of competitive nature. The performance is one of the best. It goes without saying at this point that it is one of the best. In the quarter mile, this is one of the very few cars that can keep up with, if not beat, GTRs, Veyrons, and even Huayras. For top speed, it's not quite on the same level as a GTR. It's quicker than the R34. Not quicker than the R35 though, top end. It does around 285, 290 under its own power, well over 300 with NOS or draft, so more than enough performance to get the job done on most tracks, to say the least. And around most tracks, this car can keep up with, in some cases, even Le Mans prototypes. And it's one of the only street cars in the game to be capable of that. And that's not too surprising when you consider that it only weighs, with the full weight loss package, 920 kilos, which is 5 kilos lighter than the Audi R10 Le Mans diesel. Thanks to that low weight and its high power output, this car puts out just under 1,050 horsepower per tonne. And one of the most surprising things about the car, for me anyway, is the PP. It's no way near as high as I would have expected it to be, considering that this can legitimately worry Le Mans prototypes. I would have expected the PP to be at least 670, if not more. But it's no way near that. It's, for some inexplicable reason, 654, which is only around the same level as a Super GT machine, like a Pennzoil Skyline or a Supra. That's shocking to me, because this car is far beyond the performance capabilities of any of those type of vehicles. Not that I'm complaining, of course. Having all that performance in a lower PP is a great thing for people who choose to use the car. But the thing which I like the most about the ZZ-II, because I'm not a huge fan of the car, to be completely honest, I respect it, but I don't particularly like it that much. But the thing that I like about it the most is the value for money. It's ridiculously cheap. 60,000 credits for a car this good is almost unbelievable. Now, technically speaking, you can get some of the Red Bulls for free because you win them, so obviously they would be superior in terms of value for money, but for cars you actually have to buy, pretty much nothing comes close to this. The GTR is pretty good, the Supra, the Mitsubishi GTO even, a very good value for money, and I even did a top 10 list of my pick of the best value for money cars. But none of them come close to this one. It's fantastic. So, if you're looking for a strong all-round supercar and you haven't bought this one yet, well, I think you probably have bought this one already. Most people probably have already on Gran Turismo 6, but if you haven't, I'd strongly recommend you give it a go. So that's it for this episode. I'll see you guys next time, and as always, thanks for watching.